Now, the best interviewers frequently ask questions.
Right.
They come up with follow-up questions, and I'll try to do that.
Perfect.
What line do you remember the most?
Since I don't have to remember lines because there's a script in front of me that then stays in the room when I leave, I tend not to remember lines. I let folks watching remember the lines.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of lines that you've said.
Right. And
it's very hard to remember.
I don't have to remember
tons, or right. You probably remember stuff that you have to say over and over, right?
Right, or the stuff that I hear over and over again, which again, since I'm not usually playing the games, not much.
Okay. Do you go places to voice act or do it online?
Before lockdown, I went to lots of places. Since lockdown, I record mostly at home and occasionally go into New York City to record in studios. But that's few and far between these days.
Do you think you do better voice than Dean Bristol, which is the previous voice actor?
I would let fans make that determination. I know that I do it well enough for Sega to keep asking me back to do it again, and that's really all I can be concerned about.
If there will be a replacement, we think they would do better, or does it really matter?
They will audition and cast whoever they choose. Since it's their project, they can choose whoever they want. I go through the
How many times somebody called you Eggman on social media?
Gazillions. It's incalculable.
Mm-hmm. I know there's I read your posts. There are people that want to role play as you, and you're not really Eggman, you're just a voice actor.
It works much better if somebody's written a script and Sega's handed it to me. Otherwise, it doesn't work well at all.
Which cartoon do you enjoy most on voicing?
The one I happen to be voicing at the time, whichever that might be.
Mm-hmm. Do you collect Eggman merchandise?
I have a bunch of material from the past. I haven't been collecting very actively recently because I have a lot of it already.
I have this one PVC figure. It's from Pop. You know, you got that one, right?
Yep, got that one.
Yeah, we got that. Has anyone sent you evil ham from your fan mail?
Not from the fan mail, no. But I have made my own. Grab a can of Underwood deviled ham from your grocer, and then you can use correction fluid to take out the D and the ED, and suddenly it becomes evil ham.
I've seen on your website, itsamike.com, you got instructions to make your own, and you've sold out the ones that you had in stock. Mm-hmm. And there's this one video you got on there, the YouTube video of how it tastes and other information, right?
Mm-hmm. So if you want to make your own, get ahead. It's just that simple. But
for me, I'm on a strict diet. That's that kind of meat's got fat.
You're not missing much, I'm sure.
It's got. I watched the video. It's got 0.5 trans of fat. Trans fat is just what I've learned. It's not needed.
I'm sure you're not missing anything you're not trying.
But I know it has let's just move on. Can you sing Eggman's theme song?
One thing about recording is that there's no music when we're recording, so I tend not to track with the music. I've heard it, but not well enough to be able to repeat it. Unless Sega asks, then I'll try.
Have you ever sang a song in the studio?
Lots of times. I recorded a whole bunch of the song parodies that I've written over the years, and I've posted them to my SoundCloud page at It's a Mike. And I've recorded for a couple of the Sonic Boom episodes. There are a bit of little musical interludes, so we've had that.
Sonic Lost World was the funniest game you voiced in. Do you remember any of the lines?
Not without looking at them again. It's been years that have passed, and I was in the studio for no more than 4 hours, so that doesn't really create many permanent memories.
Now, the funniest line I remember, you said Cubot's voice chip is all cattywampus. You remember that?
Not specifically, but some people I'm sure have quoted it to me over the years.
Yeah, I've watched let's see, there's a YouTube video that it's supposed to be like Eggman's cutscenes in Sonic Lost World. It's got like everything Eggman has said there. You remember any other lines?
No, without looking at them. I barely remember something I recorded yesterday.
Have you ate Sonic ice cream? That's the one with gumball eyes.
I have not personally, but my kids have. They seem to have enjoyed them and have survived the experience.
Have you ate Sonic ice cream at the drive-in?
Yes, we have. There's one nearby, so sometimes we go for a treat.
Good ice cream there.
Mm-hmm.
Being anonymous when you're a voice actor sounds like not many ask for an autograph. Do you like that?
Anonymity is fun and useful. No need to be pestered everywhere we go. But if people do recognize me, I will happily sit and chat for as long as I can.
Do you have your own studio?
I've got a little home studio setup that I'm using right now. I've got equipment that I can bundle up and travel if we go to a hotel or somewhere. So, yeah, I have enough to be able to keep working. That's really all I can ask for.
Yeah. Where do you travel to voice act?
Most of the time I go to studios in New York City. Occasionally I get to fly out to Los Angeles and join the rest of my Sonic colleagues and record out there.
How does voice acting work for you?
Usually there's an audition process. My agent or manager or other contacts will send me an audition. I'll record an audition, send it back, where sometimes in the old days we'd go in person for auditioning, but who knows when that'll happen again. Then if they like me, they will call me back and say, yes, we'd like to book you for this job. And then they will send me a scheduled time and some type of script. These days I'll record from home. Sometimes I go into a studio and do it. And then if they're satisfied, they will let me leave and send a check.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fair way getting the best voice actors, right?
It's very efficient. It's the way we like it.
Have you ever cosplay as Eggman?
Nope. If Sega asked me to, I might, but otherwise I've not been inspired to do so myself. What
conventions have you attended?
A whole bunch. There were several Sonic ones. There's some Sonic Sega-sponsored live events. There's Summer of Sonic in the UK. There's a Sonic thing in LA that we did. There was one down in Georgia that we did a couple times in Savannah. Some very nice events. And then if you look at animecons.com, you can look me up and see all the stuff I've done over the years.
Do you prefer voicing the hero or villain?
I prefer voicing whoever they ask me to voice. Villains could be more fun, but heroes are fun too. And sometimes it's not necessarily even a character. There are narrators, there are e-learning things, there are corporate narrations. So as long as they choose me, I'm happy to play whatever I'm asked to.
And I'm guessing you would voice the villain mostly.
Usually, but if somebody wants me to be a hero, that's good too.
Who writes your scripts?
There's every project has different writers, and usually I have very little to do with the writers because the script arrives already written. Sometimes the writer is in the room when we're recording, but not usually. So it depends on the project.
Can you voice Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb?
If they ask me to, I would, but since they haven't, I won't.
Okay, last. Any advice for who wants to be a voice actor?
Make sure you learn to be an actor first, because this is all about acting. Go to community theater or school theater type programs to get training if those are available. If not, there are acting classes online. But one thing when you get into a studio and you're going to be trying to act, it's more than just being able to do a funny voice. You've got to be able to make it sound like you're not reading, even though you're reading. And that is a more challenging skill than some people think.
Okay, I have some bonus questions if you have the time.
Sure.
Okay, do you have candy ready for the trick-or-treaters?
We do, but who knows if anyone's coming around. We may not even be home to hand out candy. So it may end up being for us.
Have you gave yourself a haircut during the pandemic?
There There was once a tiny bit of trimming I needed to do, but by the time I got back to the barber, he didn't complain.
COVID-19 vaccine will be ready next month. Do you think they're sure about that?
I would expect they've done plenty of testing, and as I understand it, the first people to get it will be healthcare professionals, so they should know whether to trust it or not.
I really hope we get over this pandemic.
It'll take a while, but all this too must pass, as they say.
Yeah. Okay, that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining, Mike.
Sure, thanks for having me.